All right. Everybody's here. Anything we need to take up before I call the case?
No, I don't think so, Judge.
I'm about to say,
All right. Calling case number 2019-CR1396, captioned State of Kansas versus Paul Salazar. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
may it please court, the state appears to be Maurice Brewer.
And Mr. Salazar appears in person and in custody via Zoom video with counsel Mark Bostwick.
All right. We are here set down for a sentencing today. Looks like the parties got together by Zoom back on October 15th. At that time, the defendant changed his plea from one of not guilty to guilty to the first two counts. The court inquired and accepted that plea, ordered a pre-sentence investigation be prepared, and continued sentencing pending that report. I have received that report today and reviewed the same. The critical findings are as follows. The primary offense of conviction is one of possession of methamphetamine. That is a severity level 5 non-person drug felony. The defendant's criminal history score was found to be that of E as in Edward. That would leave him with a presumed sentence of prison, well, by operation of special rule number 26, which is his third or subsequent felony drug possession. The presumed range would be 18, 20, or 22 months. If he has to do that time, he's eligible for 20% good time credit and subject to post-release supervision duration of 12 months. If he's granted probation today, it would be for a period of 12 months to community corrections. The second offense of conviction was one of possession of hydrocodone or oxycodone. That is a severity level 5 non-person drug felony as well. For scoring purposes, on the second count, he's considered a criminal history I. That would leave him again with a presumption of prison controlling from the special rule, a presumed range of 10, 11, or 12 months, the same 20% good time credit, 12 months of post-release supervision, and 12 months of probation being the possible outcomes. Mr. Brewer, I would ask you first, did you have an opportunity to review the pre-sentence investigation? Any additions, corrections, or objections to those findings?
Your Honor, I have had a chance to review it. I do not have any additions, corrections to this PSI, Your Honor.
Mr. Bostwick, same question.
I have no additions, corrections, or objections.
All right, Mr. Salazar, your lawyer tells me that he went over that PSI with you, particularly your criminal history score, and that you don't have any objections or challenges to those findings. Is that correct?
Correct, sir.
All right. Mr. Bostwick, you filed a motion for a downward
Judge,
durational and
I'm sorry, I lost you.
well, okay.
You don't have any objections or challenges to those findings?
He said that was correct. And so I was noting, Mr. Bostwick, you filed a motion for a downward durational and or dispositional departure. Would you like to be heard on that this afternoon?
Yes, Judge. I filed a motion for a downward durational departure with substantial and compelling reasons. The state is not opposed. He waived his preliminary hearing. He showed more remorse, took responsibility. I also followed, those are substantial and compelling reasons for departure. The state is not opposed to this departure. That would give him an underlying sentence or a controlling prison sentence on that count of 16 months if were granted. On the probation, I'm asking the court, despite a special rule, to award him probation. Because it's a special rule, I didn't frame the motion as a dispositional departure. I don't know if a dispositional departure is appropriate under a special rule because it's not considered a departure if he were to go to prison, and it's not appealable, so it wouldn't be a departure. I'm just simply asking the court to grant him probation. The state is not opposed. The methamphetamine from 2006 is 14 years old, and the incident date is 16 years old. So I'm just respectfully asking the court to grant him a contract of probation for 12 months.
All right. If I recall correctly, when I reviewed the plea agreement, it was a 20% departure from mid-box, which would be that 16-month. Do I have that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Brewer, comments?
Your Honor, I am just asking that the court follow the agreement. I am asking for the 16-month underlying sentence. I think when me and Mr. Boswick formulated this agreement, I think we both thought he was going to come back presumptive probation. I know that there's a special rule. I'm still not opposed to the probation, just given the fact that the other prior does have some age on it. And this does appear to be something where he's got substance abuse. And so I would just ask that he be ordered to get a substance abuse evaluation as part of his probation and that he follow those recommendations, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Salazar, now is your opportunity to tell me anything you want me to know before I pass sentence today.
I've learned my lesson. I don't want to mess with this stuff anymore. I don't ever want to come back to jail. The time I spent in here, I've had a lot of time to think. And I don't plan on messing anything up.
Yes, Monica, where'd you lose him?
I lost him, Judge. I'm sorry.
Where at?
I lost him when he said the time I spent in here. The time I spent in here, he started.
All right.
I had a lot of time to
If you
think,
can repeat that.
and I don't ever want to come back. I don't. If you grant me probation, I'll make sure I do everything I have to do to make sure it goes well.
All right. Mr. Boswick, you know any legal reason why I should not now proceed to sentencing?
No, Judge.
All right. Well, Mr. Salazar, it looks like I think the saving grace in this is the age of the old convictions. All right. So look, it appears, my hope is that that big gap was a long time of sobriety that for whatever reason you weren't able to maintain, and it wasn't simply flying below the radar. But whichever way it was, I'm not going to be concerned about what happened in the past. It's just what's going to go forward from here. I'm not going to keep you in suspense. I'm going to grant your attorney's motion, and I'm going to give you probation today. And I'll tell you this: one of the reasons I'm doing this is, frankly, that I'm morally opposed to sending addicts to prison for being addicts. All right. A, I don't think it's fair. B, I don't think it works. It's kind of kicking it down the road until the next time some other judge maybe has to take care of it. So I do think that getting defendants into treatment and all of those things works better, is just a smarter way to go about it. But here's the deal. The reason this special rule applies is because it's what the legislature has told us we're supposed to do is after a number of times where it doesn't work, just total incapacitation, put them in prison where they can't get to it, and maybe that'll break the cycle. All right. So I guess why I'm telling you this is, even though I'm kind of morally opposed to that, I also did raise my hand and say that I would uphold the law as the legislature gives it to us. So eventually I get to the point where I've tried it enough that I don't have any option but to send someone to prison. So I don't want to do that. I'm not going to do this in your case. And look, I don't want you to take this as me giving you some kind of final ultimatum that says, if you use a single drug ever again, I'm just going to send you to prison. Here's what I expect of you. I expect you to get your treatment program going by getting this evaluation and getting into the treatment that it recommends. I expect you to work hard on that and try and stay sober. I do not expect Yep,
Judge, I lost you. I'm sorry.
where at?
Getting into the treatment that it.
All right. Then I expect you to work hard in putting that treatment into place to stay sober, right? I do not expect you to relapse, but I understand that that is something that happens to people as they work hard on this. I don't send people to prison also for relapsing, but I can, do, and will if they let that relapse be the end of their efforts or somehow just kind of a surrender to the drug thing. So relapses aren't that important to me. What you do the day after a relapse, if it happens, is very important to me, right? You get back on the horse, figure out why you relapsed, how to keep it from happening again, and you're going to be all right with me. Okay? All
Thank you.
right. Therefore, I will sentence the defendant to a period of, for count one, to a period of 16 months in the Department of Corrections. If he has to do that time, he'll be eligible for 20% good time credit and subject to post-release supervision duration of 12 months. For count two, I will give him the standard sentence of 11 months with the same 20% good time credit and 12 months of post-release supervision. That sentence is ordered to run concurrently with that in count one. The defendant's application for probation today is considered and it is granted to community corrections for a period of 12 months. One of the specific requirements of probation is that Mr. Salazar get a drug and alcohol evaluation and follow the recommendations thereof. Mr. Salazar, tell me a little bit about your plans when you get out. Do you have a line on employment?
Yeah, I was wanting to go back to driving a forklift down in Gardner where I was working prior to all this. And
All right. Okay. Now, that sounds like it's a pretty gainful employment. You understand that if your treatment provider recommends that you got to go inpatient, you're going to need to do that. You understand that?
yes, sir.
Okay. So look, it's not because we want to punish Paul Salazar and make him stay in a treatment program. It's because that's what the assessor thinks you'll need to be able to be successful. And that's what we all want out of this treatment plan, right? Is that you get something that's going to help you be successful, not only through this probation, but kicking this thing forever. You understand that?
Yeah, I do. And thank you for that.
All right. All right. So it sounds like you have the ability and willingness to have gainful employment. So I'm going to go ahead and assess the court costs and supervision fees. Mr. Bostwick, you're appointed, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you know what your bill is?
My bill is approximately $1,150.
All right.
$1,150.
Right. I'm only going to assess $200 of that fee against the defendant. I don't want to overburden
Sorry, I
him.
lost you there, Judge.
All
Judge.
right, I'm only going to assess $200 of that fee against the defendant. I don't want to overburden him with things and set him up for failure. This is not the first Kansas felony conviction, so I don't think he needs to pay the database fee. Mr. Brewer, these drugs were not laboratory tested. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So there's no
$400
lab fee. Mr. Salazar, once you get working, you think you could pay $100 a month towards these costs to get them paid off before your probation's over?
Yeah, I'll get them done as fast as I can.
All right. I'll order $100 a month. If for some reason that becomes too much of a burden, you will work with your probation officer to figure out what'll work. They'll work with you, okay? Mr. Brewer, how many days credit do you have for Mr. Salazar?
I have 93, Your Honor.
You agree with that, Mr. Bostwick?
Yes, it sounds accurate.
All right, he'll be granted that jail time credit. Mr. Salazar, do you have something that you can write down this number with?
Let me ask the officer here. Just
All
a
right,
Hey, Judge, I do have something to add while he's doing that.
sure.
During the pendency of the case, if you note on criminal history worksheet entry number 1, he has a Johnson County meth charge And that's where he's going to be going after this sentencing date.
Okay.
So he has, and that's one of the reasons he couldn't bond out. This is what we learned during that bonding out process, that he had this detainer.
Right.
And this has a lot of effect on the community corrections and when he reports and the substance abuse evaluation. But he took a plea out there, he bonded out, and then they took him here to Wyandotte. So when he gets back to Johnson, which he should be back there in a couple days, he has a plea ready to go. He's already done it. The only thing he did was he missed his he missed his sentencing over there, and his plea calls for him to go to be placed in the adult residential center out there. So what I want to do is make sure that Community Corrections knows he's going to be out there for a while. The program is a 90 to 120 days. Then after that, he'll be out, and I'm sure he'll probably want to interstate or intrastate compact his probation back to Wyandotte, the Johnson part of it. But he won't be reporting to Community Corrections, I don't see, until after the first of the year.
Right.
Because of the residential center. Also, I think the substance abuse evaluation will be doing out in Johnson County can suffice for not only
Hello.
This.
Hold on.
You froze up on me. You froze up on me when you said also, I think the substance abuse evaluations.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. The substance abuse evaluation can be done in Johnson, and then it can be used for both probations. That way we're not causing him unnecessary expense and also duplicating resources.
Right.
So, and for all practical purposes, the adult residential center he'll have to work. So I'm sure he'll probably get that job back out there.
Oh.
So, and then on his 100 a month, you might make it starting like, February or March of 2021, because that's when I think he has to pay for that placement out there anyway. So,
okay. All right. I can do that.
Thank
That order of monthly payment will start in February of 2021. Mr.
Okay.
Salazar, the number for Community Corrections is as follows. Area code 913 573 4180.
180.
Yep. They're going to get this information from us, but as soon as you get to a place where you can make a phone call, you need to call them, let them know you were put on probation with them today, but that you're going to Johnson County. They will be able to communicate with everybody, and you're not going to, get dinged because you go over there. Just make sure you call them and let them know what's going on, right? They'll follow you.
Should I call them in the pod whenever I get back?
Yes, that'd work out just fine. I'd normally tell you to go over there, but it doesn't. You're not walking free today. You're going to be heading over there, so or heading over to Johnson County. So they'll know what to do. You just call that number, tell them who you are, that you got Community Corrections probation, but that you're going back to Johnson County. They'll figure the rest out. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Salazar, things I got to advise you. You have 14 days from today to appeal anything you don't like about your sentence. You also have the right to seek expungement after a period of time following successful completion of probation. As a convicted felon, it's prohibited for you to own or possess a firearm, certain kind of deadly cutting instruments like dirks, daggers, switchblades, things like that. Any questions about any of that?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Brewer, anything else for our record today?
Just one that I think I just missed. On the bid application fee, did you impose that the $100?
Yes.
Okay. And then when I calculated the jail days, I forgot to click the button that includes today, the last day he's in. So that's modified to 95 days, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Bostwick, anything else for our record?
Just that I wish Mr.
Froze
Salazar
on
good
me
luck.
again.
Hold on.
Froze on me when he forgot to include the last day today.
Okay, he said, yeah, so it's modified to 95 days jail credit. And then Mr. Bostwick was about to tell me anything else he has for the record.
Just Mr. Salazar, good luck. And I have filed a letter of incarceration over in Johnson County for you that explains your absence. And I'm sure they'll be expecting you back there in a few days. But good luck, sir.
Thank you for everything.
All right.
No problem, man.
We are
Okay, you good.
adjourned. Good luck
Thank
to
you.
you, Mr. Salazar.
Thank you.
Everyone have a good